Self-Esteem Parenting 28, The Joy of Yom Kippur. In recent summers, I had the privilege of leading the Summer Seminary Experience, a group of students from all over the world learning and touring in Israel. On one day, we took the students to Mitzpe Yericho, a Jewish settlement overlooking the Jordan Valley. Just below us was the Arab city of Yericho. Opposite us was the Jordan Valley and the Jordan River. On the other side of the Jordan River was the mountains of Moab, the mountains of Jordan. And we showed the students that there was a little blip on the mountains of Moab, and that little blip mountain opposite Yericho is called Har Nevo. Our tour guide, Daniel Zelig from Switzerland, who lives in Israel, wonderful tour guide, opened up the Tanakh, opened up the Chumash, and read the following. Hashem spoke to Moshe on that very day, saying, "Ascend to this Mount of Avarim, Har Nevo, Mount Nevo, which is in the land of Moab, which is before Yericho, and see the land of Canaan that I give to the children of Israel as an inheritance, and die on the mountain where you will ascend, because you did not sanctify me among the children of Israel." Devarim chapter 32, verse 48, in our Parsha of Hazinu. And we stood there opposite Har Nevo, and we said, we talked about it, we learned about it throughout our years in Beis Yaakov and in schools, and yet there it is. There's Har Nevo. There's where Moshe Rabbeinu stood and saw Israel, and he was not allowed to come into Eretz Yisrael. Why? Because he was not able to sanctify God in the manner that God required. He hit the rock instead of speaking to the rock. And the Alter Slobodka says that had Moshe Rabbeinu spoken to the rock, the word, the internal spirituality of the word, is more important than the physical external act of a deed of hitting the rock. And he brings an example. On Yom Kippur, we do the external acts of hitting our hearts, crying out in pain, and crying out in prayer to Hashem. That's a beautiful minhag, and that's a minhag Yisrael, to cry out to Hashem in pain. He said, but, says the Alter Slobodka, a greater sanctification of God's name is the internal introspection we do when we say, I can do better. I can improve myself. That internal work we do on Yom Kippur is more valuable to Hashem than the external acts of hitting the rock, hitting our hearts, and crying out in pain. He says the following. When we hit our hearts, we're actually joyous. Why? Because we're saying to ourselves, I could do better. I could be better. The pain comes from the fact that I could have done better and I didn't. The joy is that I could do better, which means therefore I am valuable before Hashem. I am so valuable that I could do better. I could do more. And therefore the joy of Yom Kippur is that I believe that I can improve myself. That what I accomplished this year was X, and I could do X plus 1, and therefore I have a value within myself that I'm valuable enough to serve God from a higher level. And therefore Yom Kippur is a joyous opportunity. So when we hit our hearts, we're saying, not I'm broken, I'm no good, I'm terrible. Rather, I can do better. I'm encouraging myself. I'm breaking through the layers of negativity and saying, yes, I can. I think I can. I know I can. I'm improving myself. And therefore Yom Kippur is an uplifting day, not a broken day. And we have to massage our hearts, push our hearts, uplift our hearts, and say, I can improve myself. I have value. My heart made a mistake, but I can use that same heart, the same free will, and uplift myself and do the right thing. This is the opportunity of Yom Kippur, and this in fact is the opportunity of all our lives in parenting and self-esteem parenting. When our children say, I'm no good, we say, you made a mistake, but you're not a mistake. You may have failed at something, but you're not a failure, because you have an internal value within you, at Tzelem Elokim. And humility means that everything that you've accomplished and everything that you are challenged by is sent by Hashem. And therefore you can access, dig deep, cut through the layers of your negativity and say, I have value within me. I have Tzelem Elokim, and I can accomplish great things. And that is the joy of Yom Kippur, which applies all year long. The joy of inner value, that I can serve Hashem, that I'm never questioned. My value is never in question. My Tzelem Elokim is always intact. And our job as parents is to foster the Tzelem Elokim, the godly image of God within our children and ourselves. And that's what self-esteem and parenting is all about. I want to close with this. This is our last installment of our 28th installment of self-esteem parenting. My Zeda, David Abba HaKoyen, Huberman, Zichrono Livracha, when we faced a challenge, he would say in Yiddish the following language. He would say, Geh betressel mit dem Kopf and geh weiter. shake it off, shake your head, and go on. That's our message of self-esteem parenting. You made a mistake, but you're not a mistake. You have Tzelem Elokim. Recognize the humility within you of value that God placed within you Himself, godliness Himself. In you, you are valuable and you can achieve. Encourage yourself. Build family esteem. Build your own self-esteem. Build your children's esteem and saying, you are a child of Hashem. Foster that relationship with Hashem. And in that way, it can gain a self-esteem, but something more, a sense of self. God gave them a self. Value it, nurture it, mechanech it, bring it up, bring it to a higher level. And that way we can do a great service to Hashem and to our children, our family, and to ourselves by affecting self-esteem parenting. That's self-esteem parenting with a connection with Hashem. The self comes from Hashem. And that way we can better Avdei Hashem, servants of God.